This is my second Kerbal Space Program video, and in this video I'm going to go to Mun orbit and back. And this is KOTM 1, the first mission of the KOTM program. KOTM stands for Kerbals on the Mun, and I'm taking Jerwig with me to be the first Kerbal to orbit the Mun. And I have modded parts, but I'm not using any of them. And right here, you could probably tell that that did not go very well. And that video was sped up really, really fast, obviously. I don't know why, but it just started spinning for no reason. But on this attempt, it went pretty good. So for this one, I'm not using any modded parts, but for this attempt, I just added like a lot of struts everywhere to the rocket to make it less wobbly and hopefully not like spin around like last time. So here I saved it, and then launch time. So now Jerwig can be off on his way to be the first Kerbal to go to the Mun. He's not landing on the Mun, but he's going to be the first Kerbal to get like close to it, like to the Mun, pretty much, in this stage file. And hopefully for the KOTM 2, then I can go and land on the Mun. And here it started going pretty bad again. It was flipping just like last time. But at least it wasn't wobbling, but it was still flipping. And then right about here, right here, then I started going down, but then I saved it with the engine, and then I got it back. And for the rest of this video, it is not going to be edited at all. But there is still regular time warp, though, so it won't be the whole thing, because this mission took days and days and days to do. I don't remember the exact number, but it was about a week. It took about a week to do it. But with time warp, then I didn't actually have to do it for a week. And here, staging. That other stage kind of burnt up, but that doesn't really matter. And here I was creating a maneuver node. This part didn't actually go very well. It was really hard to get the maneuver node to work. And also I took a big risk here by not getting into orbit before transferring to Mun orbit. So I just went straight from Kerbin to a Mun encounter instead of getting into orbit of Kerbin first. Which is a bad idea. The orbit line was kind of like wavy here for some reason, but it was pretty good. But But now Jerwig will have to wait a whole hour and a half to do the next burn to get on the encounter with the Mun. But luckily, I can just time warp and not have to wait an hour to do one tiny little burn, which is right here. So this is 1,000 times faster than it actually was. But now doing the very short burn, which required 2 stages to do to fully complete. And as you can see, I am completing the burn, I'm doing it a lot slower than I was, because this engine isn't as powerful. And here, just time warping to the Mun. Then the next thing that I will have to do is to actually get in orbit of the Mun, so I don't just slingshot around it. And this part, just creating the maneuver node for the orbit, took a surprisingly long amount of time because I couldn't really get it to be good. But eventually I ended up with this really, really low periapsis, which is even lower than what you see now. They're not there when it was inside of the Mun. But while I struggle to create the maneuver node, this is a great time for you to subscribe to my channel, because I really, really need subscribers. Because I'm trying to beat another YouTuber named XXGhostEyesXX, and he has 200 and something subscribers. So subscribe so I can beat him. I'm not very far away from beating him. But there you can see the Mun. Oh, now you can't anymore. But here, you can see the Mun now. And here, just time warping to whenever I needed to do the burn to get into orbit of the Mun. Here, I was only at half throttle the whole time I was doing the burn, because it was only 7 seconds long. So I needed to get it very, exactly how it was supposed to be, because the periapsis was so low that if I just got it a tiny bit lower than it was supposed to be, then I could crash into a mountain or something. So I have a periapsis of 48,000 meters, which is very, very low. But I can do that with the Mun because it doesn't have an atmosphere. I wanted a very, very low periapsis so that you can have good views of the Mun's surface, so that Jerwig's very, very long ride to and from the Mun will be worth it. And here is the mission, halfway through the mission. That was the hardest part. That was the hardest part of the entire mission, getting to Mun orbit. But now it's done. So now nothing else could go wrong. Definitely nothing else could possibly go wrong with this mission. So here, I was just trying to spin the rocket around so that the single tiny window that Jerwig has could face the Mun, so that I can get a good interior cockpit view of the Mun. It would be cool if I sent like a giant space station into Mun orbit, like a giant Mun space station that had like a giant gravity ring and stuff. Because there are some really big gravity rings with Netea's parts mod. Which I'm not going to say the whole name of that mod because it's really long. It's really long. It's like 10 words long. But it has some really big gravity rings. And then I could explore it with the free IVA mod too. And here, it looks like I'm like far away, like orbiting the Mun, but then you can see Minmus there, which is even farther away. The second moon of Kerbin. And then you can see that was just the Kerbin system, and then there's the whole solar system that I can also explore. But then Jewel has like so many moons that it's basically a mini solar system. So I didn't go very far in this video, but I can't really go that far because I'm really bad at Kerbal Space Program. But eventually I might get good enough to go to more interesting places. But the Mun is pretty interesting though, especially if you go to the Easter eggs that the Mun has, like the Mun Arch. And in Kerbal Space Program 2, like one of the only good things about Kerbal Space Program 2 is that on the Mun you can actually find the crashed Mun or bust rocket from the loading screen. That's like the one of the few good things about Kerbal Space Program 2. That's better than Kerbal Space Program 1, because Kerbal Space Program 1 doesn't have that Mun or bust rocket actually on the Mun. So I don't know where the one is that looks like it's on the Mun from the loading screen, but there isn't one actually on the Mun. But it does have 2 Mun arches, though. And one of them is like possessed by an alien or something, I think. So I could make a video visiting those, except for the first time that I will land on the Mun, I'll just land in like a random spot, because I won't be good enough to land in a specific spot on a planet for very long. I guess it's not a planet, it's a moon. But here, I don't know what happened here. It just wasn't letting me switch back my view back to the Mun. And this went on for quite a while. But here, yes, I think it was right here, I started making the maneuver node to escape the Mun and get back to Kerbin. But I couldn't figure it out because it kept just either becoming so big that I was orbiting the sun, or just a bigger orbit of the moon. It is kind of hard to see Kerbin because of the massive amount of space stations I have. But here I was like about to get it, and then that happened. So I decided to do it in 2 parts. I don't know when I decided. Yeah, right now I think. I decided just to do it in 2 parts to like actually get into this orbit that the maneuver node shows, and then get it on an orbit that dips into the atmosphere a little bit to get back. Here, the first of the 2 burns to get back to Kerbin have been completed. Now I'm making the maneuver node for the second one. I could have done this without a maneuver node, except it's so much easier with a maneuver node, because then you can use the SAS feature that just automatically points toward your target, which a maneuver node counts. So then you don't have to point towards it and like spend a long time trying to point the rocket in the perfect direction. You can just click a button and then autopilot does it for you. And that's why in this mission I used a maneuver node for every single tiny little burn that I did. Just because it's so much easier. A nice Kerbin. And it's almost complete. I just have like a tiny bit more to do to get the periapsis the perfect height. And I don't know what was happening there, but something was happening. So here I was just doing very small adjustments to get it perfect. Here, then I had nothing else to do, and it looks like I have like a lot of fuel left, but this is just like there's another stage under this that is still full fuel. So I had a ton of fuel left. So probably the next Kerbal Space Program video will be me landing on the moon, and I'll probably use the same rocket because it has so much extra fuel, and just put some landing legs on the top stage. But here, I was time warping here, and usually it stops time warping right when you get into the atmosphere. So I made the time warp thing like pretty much right at the periapsis, because I knew it was going to stop time warping once I reached the atmosphere. But it kind of glitched and did it like a little bit late. So right here, I didn't have time to destage it, and that happened. So yeah, he blew up and died. I forgot his name. Jerwig. Yeah, Jerwig. Jerwig sadly and tragically died in a time warp accident. But you should subscribe so that you don't have to die in a time warp accident. But time warp isn't real, so I guess I can say that he sort of survived because in real life, he wouldn't have died because there wouldn't have been a glitch with the time warp. So, please subscribe so that I can beat XX Ghost Eyes XX. And so I can just have more subscribers, because I want subscribers, because subscribers are good. And also, if I get like a lot of likes and subscribers from this video, then I will make more Kerbal Space Program videos. Well, I'll probably make more anyway, but I'll make even more if this video does well. So subscribe if you want to see me make more Kerbal Space Program videos.